Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking the new superclass Zoro into some PvP. And Slashers, man. Slashers should be getting buffs left, right, and center. But the real question is, does he fit on the Slasher team? So in today's video, I have 6 different fights for you guys, and I have 3 different Slasher teams. The first Slasher team we have on screen right now is a K-Dad Odin stereotypical Slasher team. We're using Cracker as our cooldown reducer. We have Whitebeard and Roger because they're absolute demons on the Slasher team. There's no doubt about that. We then have the combination of K-Dad and Odin, as well as Zoro himself. Now, Zoro is pretty strong when it comes to Rumble. With this particular team and this particular fight, he actually popped off incredibly well. He went very, very quickly for what we needed him to do, and the idea of what you want Zoro to do is, as soon as he gets his special charge, you basically want him to pop off. With Slashers, they don't have a lot of defense. Look, they don't have any defense, if I'm completely honest. The only way they get defense is either through Carrot Wander's special, K-Dad special if you have Odin on the team, or if you're using something like V1 6+ Dopey. That's the only way you're getting defense on a Slasher team. And that's the bottom line. But at the end of the day, you're not looking for defense when you're running Slashers. You want speed. You want cooldown reduction. You want attack. That's the idea when we are running Slashers. So with Zoro, his special does large range horizontal for 2.3 times his attack, and then targets one enemy, ignoring defense for a 1.5 times attack. Now, ignoring defense, you guys seen what Kid can do. Like, that is a lot of damage. Like, it's a lot of damage. Plus, it ignores all defense, which means you can pretty much guarantee 99% of the time that you are going to be killing someone or something with that extra 1.5 times damage. The thing is, though, you've got to get Zoro to pop off, right? You want him to have a lot of attack, and you want him to pop off very, very quickly, so that way he can actually just basically kill something. The next fight for this particular team, I actually am versing a Slasher mirror match. Now, I don't recommend taking on Slasher teams, period. Mainly because Whitebeard and Roger is so unpredictable that they can just ruin your entire team. If they kill the right unit to just totally screw your whole structure, like, it's scary stuff. And with this particular fight, it was actually super interesting because when you come up against Slashers, ideally you either need to tank their damage or you need to go before them. And with this fight, we actually don't go before the Slashers, and we actually managed to survive. But the reason I think we managed to survive is because I have my Zoro at level 110. Zoro takes the shot from the enemy Zoro and manages to survive, throws back a special of his own, takes out K-Dad, but then we take the big dog Roger shot, and Roger basically will just kill 2 units. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, 2 of your units are going to die when Whitebeard Roger attack. It's just how it is. However, we did have some backup with Cracker. We have our Whitebeard Roger ready to go. And Slashers, once they start going off with their specials, they do a lot of damage. Like, there's no doubt about it. The Slashers can do a lot of damage. The problem is they need a few more Pirate Rumble rare recruits to make them an 8-man team. But for now, we have a 5-man team. The next team comp that I actually put together is a DEX Slasher sort of build. Now, DEX has actually a lot of Slasher characters. Now, most DEX teams are run through Powerhouse because Pell is so freaking powerful, but Pell is actually a Slasher himself, as well as Dalton being a Slasher, Neko and Inu, both Slashers, and then you have Zoro, who's a DEX Slasher. So you can actually put all these characters on your front line, build out a nice DEX Slasher-centric team. You don't have to use, like, Dog or Cat. Like, Cat's probably a little bit better than Dog. You could use something like Luffy on the team as well, because then Luffy would buff Zoro. But when you're versing quick teams, this particular team works very, very nicely. The upside to this particular team is Neko and Inu, they just nerf Dex so significantly that most of the time if you are versing, quick, if you are versing quick, you are just going to take them down. You do have stuff like Kizaru, you do have stuff like Moria. You could easily put them on the team as well. I think Moria is actually a Slasher too now that I'm really thinking about it. So you could definitely do something like that. And then run Pell in the back line. But look, Pell's so good, and he obviously buffs Dalton as well, because Dalton's Powerhouse. So, you can do some really, really cool things there. Nevertheless, this particular team obviously is not exactly the be-all, end-all when it comes to DEX teams. We all know how powerful DEX teams are. Zoro popping off right there, by the way, taking out Top Music was so beautiful. We all know how powerful DEX teams actually are, and this is just a bit of a rendition of that. The reason I wanted to include it in the video is because it has a lot of defense. As you saw there, like, we're just tanking shots for days, and even though we have quick damage reduction, we are still, like, taking HP cuts from Akainu. We're still taking, like, fixed damage from Tesoro. We're still losing a lot of defense when we're coming up against stuff like Whitebeard and Magellan and Kaido. So the DEX Slasher team is a formidable team. And if you guys saw my Grand Party runs, Roger, in my eyes, and most other people's as well, actually, is the best GP leader. And, like, it's not even close. Roger, the downside to him is he boosts Slashers and he boosts side characters. So, when you're building your GP teams, it does become a little bit slim pickings to actually building out teams with him. But Slashers are so good. Slashers and DEX Slashers particularly are so good at building up his GP stat, or his GP burst, sorry, that this particular team I really wanted to showcase, because this particular team, if you're running something like a Roger build, then this team should always be like your frontline team. You can use something like Brook as well. Brook's another Slasher who's a Dex unit that will just work amazingly on this team, probably over something like Dogstorm, because ideally you don't know that if you're going to be coming up against quick teams when it comes to Grand Party. You could take CatDog off, put on Luffy, put on Brook. That way you've got even more defense. You've got the revive mechanic, and with Zoro, right? He's just ignoring defense. As you guys see here, right? Like, he just kills a unit. 7,000 damage is so much damage. And especially when you are, like, nerfing the quick teams, if you are running this sort of particular team, or if you are using Grand Party, and Zoro's just surviving because this team has so much defense, plus it'll have healing with Brook, you'll have a revive with Luffy. In Grand Party, under Roger, this particular team will not only get the 55,000 damage taken, but it also has the chance of actually just, like, binking teams as your first win, and then you can sort of rely on your, like, GP burst to carry you through the next win. Usually with Roger's GP burst, like, it's a guaranteed win, like, especially with Slashers. Like, you guys just saw how fast Slashers was, and with Zoro, I don't think he really makes the cut for the Slasher team, because Kdad, Odin, and then the combination of Kizaru and Cracker with their cooldowns is just so powerful. So this particular comp, the Dex one, will work great when it comes to GP. On to the final team comp now. We are running just the pure speed Slashers. Now, this takes off Kdad, and it just relies on a whole bunch of special reduction with Kizaru, with Cracker, and with Odin to just make sure that our Zoro and our Whitebin and Roger, and our Odin, really, get their specials ridiculously fast and just pop off at such a high, rapid pace. Kizaru's kit, when you limit break him, is so good too. He gets like level 7 attack every time he uses his special. He pops off in the first 12 seconds usually with this team as well. And he can do like a nice chunk of damage. Odin then goes in the first, 22 seconds, which is disgusting. That can be Whitebearded Roger sometimes. That can even be Zoro sometimes. And as you guys see there, like, we took out Luffy and Luffy's revive very, very comfortably. Zoro can do a lot of damage with that horizontal range because Kizaru's buffing his attack as well. And then with the attack that goes through defense, it's just basically like GG for whatever he hits. Once that sort of happens, Slashers are pretty much in good stead now, because once you take out like 2/3 of their team, they are basically in like catch-up mode, and unless you have something like Straw Hat, or you're versing something like Straw Hat Crew in the back that can sort of like give haste or like just wave clear like a whole bunch of your units, you're usually going to be in for a good time. In this last sort of fight here, we are versing a Psy team. This Psy team it's nothing too crazy. You do have to be careful with Psy teams when you are running Slashers, and I did want to sort of highlight that in the video, because like Wano Law and his ability to just absolutely decimate powerhouse-driven characters, Rebecca Toy Soldier and Enel, they have the ability to just absolutely decimate Slashers. It's what they were designed for. So if you are running Slashers, obviously a big no-no to fight is something like the big old Dex team, fighting something like Enel and Rebecca Toy Soldier side builds, and even being very, very afraid of stuff like mirror match Slashers, or even stuff like strength teams as well, that have stuff like Kid and stuff like that. Free Spirit teams can be a bit of a problem for Slashers as well. The Straw Hat Crew V2 especially has the ability to just change the game, and obviously we play this PvP. Oh, Odin actually survived it. That's interesting. We play this PvP rendition, but you got to remember that like most of this is still built around RNG, if not majority of it. And when you are playing PvP, the idea is just to reduce the amount of RNG as much as possible. Where Zoro fits on the Slasher team, I don't think he actually finds a spot. However, the DEX Slasher team does have potential for GP Roger teams, so keep that in mind if you are building for GP. But that's going to wrap up the video anyway, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions of Zoro in the comment section below for regular play and for PvP. Like, he's a very, very good legend. If you manage to pull him, be very, very happy, because he's just very, very powerful. Most importantly, though, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Later!